Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo with Doc Sports here with your Ferringo 5 for NFL Week 6 action. Make sure to check me out at www.docsports.com. That's docsports.com. So, all right, this is the Ferringo 5. This is where I take 5 games that are on the board for the NFL, and I break them down, just kind of what I am looking for. Now, these are not my 5 favorite bets of the week. These are not my 5 marquee games. These are just 5 situations, spreads, elements that jumped out at me that I like, that I am intrigued by going into this week's action. All right. And with some of these games, I see some potential setup situations for next week or for in the future. You know, handicapping is not about just being able to pick the games that are right in front of your face. It's about having a long-term plan. It's about being able to step back, look at the NFL schedule, look at not just who some of these teams are playing this week, but what they have ahead of them and what they're leaving behind them. So these are the 5 games that I'm going to have my eye on and be watching and monitoring closely on this Sunday. The first game, Carolina at Tampa Bay. Okay, this is the London game. It's the 9:30 start. I love the 9:30 start. I love waking up on Sunday, making some bacon, making some breakfast for the kids, plopping right down onto the couch, throwing the laptop on my lap, and starting to do my research for the day for my other sports and having some NFL football to watch. I mean, it takes up some of my dad time. I like to say I'm never a better father than I am on football Sundays from 9 a.m. to like 12:30. I am like super dad on Sunday mornings, okay? Just getting all my dad time in so that come kickoff, come 1 o'clock, daddy time's over. Daddy's going to barricade himself in the office and start drinking and watching football and gambling for the next, 12 hours. So this is going to cut into that, but it's also a game that I'm really interested by. Okay, Tampa Bay has been playing better. They went out to Los Angeles 2 weeks ago. They beat the Rams. They made a nice little comeback against New Orleans in a tough spot last week. That game wasn't really as close as the final score suggested, but Tampa Bay didn't play that poorly either. New Orleans just had a really great game last week. Tampa Bay was in Los Angeles, then in New Orleans, now they're in London. So this is actually their 3rd straight week on the road. Is that going to wear on them? Okay, Jameis Winston is starting to look better. Is he clicking? This is a revenge game for Carolina. If you remember, Tampa Bay beat them on a Thursday night earlier this season. So are they going to get the sweep and really solidify the fact that they are going to be a player in the NFC South and in the NFC playoff race? On the flip side, you have Carolina. They've won 2 in a row. They're playing better. The offense is looking better without Cam Newton. That's just a fact. Okay, Kyle Allen is starting to get some experience, starting to get some confidence. He did not play well last week against Jacksonville. Last week was all Christian McCaffrey. And can Christian McCaffrey just continue to do the unbelievable things that he has been doing? Right now, the 2 early season MVPs in the NFL are Russell Wilson and Christian McCaffrey. Like, no 2 guys are doing more with less. Is Carolina going to get revenge from that game? Are they going to win 3 in a row and continue to build that momentum? We've seen this Ron Rivera-led Panthers team go on streaks before. Is this the start of that? So that's why I'm going to be watching that game. Not just because it's, that lovely, lovely early Sunday morning game. Next is Houston at Kansas City. All right. I loved Kansas City early on in the week, but I got to tell you, this line movement is terrifying to anyone that's backing Kansas City right now. That line has been coming down all week long. Okay. Houston is a tough team to wrap your arms around. They have been overrated and they have been overvalued. They are coming off an absolute maiming of Atlanta. But that's a terrible Atlanta team that they've beaten. Okay, they hung 50 on the Falcons, but that's because the Falcons can't stop anyone right now. Their defense is pathetic. We've waited for that Houston offensive eruption, it seems like, for 2 years since Deshaun Watson had his first 4 starts and they just absolutely erupted. They have not been the same offense. They've shown signs, they've shown flashes, but Bill O'Brien has not done a good job stewarding that offense. Are they going to keep it going? And are they going to keep it going against another bad defense? Kansas City has not looked good on that side of the ball at all. They changed defensive coordinators in the offseason. It has not worked. It has not helped. They are aggressively bad on defense, and we saw it last week when the Colts absolutely ran through them. Is Houston going to adopt that same game plan? Are they going to try and smash mouth the ball and force the ball down Kansas City's throat keep away from Patrick Mahomes, who's a little nicked up, and follow that Colts blueprint. Is Kansas City going to bounce back? They've been a very good team off of a loss under Andy Reid. New England won by blowout again on Thursday. Kansas City's got to keep pace. Okay, they want home field advantage. They want to be that number 1 seed in the AFC. Can't lose 2 games in a row. Are they going to? That's why that's going to be an intriguing game. All right, 2 teams that I briefly mentioned earlier when talking about Carolina and Tampa Bay, New Orleans and Jacksonville, the 2 teams that played Carolina and Tampa Bay last week. Really interesting situation here. New Orleans, 4-1, coming off 2 really good wins over Dallas and Tampa Bay. The week before that, they won at Seattle. So they've won 3 in a row without Drew Brees. Teddy Bridgewater, he's not looking great, but he's been effective, just as he's been his entire career. So they're 4-1, going down the road, and they're underdogs in Jacksonville. That should be a giant red flag, okay? For square bettors out there, they're instantly just going to say, oh, New Orleans is the better team. They're getting points. I'm on it. Give me that 1 point. And New Orleans very well may win this game. Jacksonville's defense is not what it was. I've been screaming about this for months. Everyone still talks about the Jaguars like they're that team from 2 years ago with that dominating defense. They're not. Half of the starters, half of the guys that started in that AFC Championship game 2 Januaries ago are no longer on this team. They are not that defense. All right? And that's not just me making a guess here. They are ranked in the 20s in most major defensive categories right now. So New Orleans may go in there, give it to Alvin Kamara 40 times. He may just do his Alvin Kamara thing, and they walk out of there with him. Okay. But as a handicapper, that line should have jumped off the board at you. The fact that Jacksonville, with a losing record, is favored over an NFC team with a winning record. I want to see how that plays out. I want to see if Gardner Minshew continues to play as well as he has. And I know everyone likes him because he's a character. He's a good story. I get all that. I like him because he's a good quarterback. He is a good football player. He's making throws, man. Like, Carolina's secondary played fantastically well last week. If you go back and rewatch that game, everything that Jacksonville got offensively in the passing game, I think they threw for like 370 yards, they earned. DJ Chark, he is a player. That guy is an absolute stud right now. He's doing T.Y. Hilton type things, getting open, making contested catches, doing things after the catch. Like, they are legit. I'm really interested to see if they deserve to be a favorite and if they trip up the public. Because, again, almost 70% of the bets are on the Saints this week. I'm looking Jacksonville's way. I want to see how that one plays out. All right, next we got, sorry, I got a little dry eye going on here. Next, San Francisco at the Rams. All right, you know my saying. Win on Monday, lose on Sunday. Throughout Monday Night Football history, teams that win on Monday Night Football are traditionally bad bets the following Monday. And right now, I don't know if there's a more hyped team in the NFC than the San Francisco 49ers. They put a beating on the Browns on Monday Night Football. And so that's the last image that everyone has in their head of San Francisco. That's what they're carrying into this game. The Rams are favored, but everyone's jumping on the points. Okay? A few things about that win over Cleveland. Number 1, Cleveland stinks. Number 2, San Francisco was at home in a big Monday night game. Number 3, San Francisco was off of a bye. They had a lot of things pointing towards them hammering the Browns, and I give them credit. They did. But look at the teams that San Francisco has beaten to get to 4-0. They have not played anyone to this point in the year. The Rams will be the toughest opponent that they have faced. The Rams had extra time to prepare, coming off that gut-wrenching loss in Seattle in a game that they should have won. The Rams are at home, so San Francisco is going on the road on a short week, playing against the best opposition that they've played all season. So if San Francisco wins, hey, they are absolutely for real. And I think they're for real anyway. I definitely think that they are going to be in this race with the Rams and Seattle going into December. They may be a playoff team. But if they win this game, they are the West frontrunner, and they have just dealt a second divisional loss to the Rams. They're kind of putting the Rams behind the 8 ball if they can go on the road and win this game. So real fascinating storyline there. The number 5, and I don't have a lot to say about this game. It's just on my radar because these are 2 teams that I've been betting on and against relatively consistently, and I actually have a rated play in the total in this game. Tennessee at Denver. All right, who are these guys? Who are these teams? Denver, I feel like, is a team that's a little bit better than the record suggests that they are. They have looked completely lost at times, like they did against Jacksonville 2 weeks ago. And then they have looked really solid, like they did last week against the Chargers. Vic Fangio may be starting to figure some things out. They may be an underrated, undervalued team. They have a couple underrated Philip Lindsay, Cortland Sutton, Emmanuel Sanders. Those are 3 really underrated offensive players. Okay? Vic Fangio is going to figure things out defensively. What they did in their first 4 games, not getting a sack, not forcing a turnover, those are kind of statistical anomalies that are going to correct themselves at some point. Are they going to correct themselves this week? Tennessee, you look at, they're a team, they were in the playoffs last year. They opened up by blowing out Cleveland on the road. They've played good football at times over the last 2 years. But they're coming off a really bad loss. They should have beaten Buffalo last week. 4 missed field goals, a touchdown called back. They really should have won that game, and they let it get away. Now they're going on the road in a really tough environment in Denver, going up to that thin mountain air. This really is kind of a must-win game for Tennessee. It's really a must-win game for both of these teams. I just feel like we're going to, are we going to figure out who both of these teams are moving forward? And it's not going to be an aesthetically pleasing game, because these 2 defenses are far ahead of both of these offenses. And, Joe Flacco and Marcus Mariota are not exactly playmakers and big play guys at this stage in their careers. So it might not be a great game to watch, but it's going to be an interesting game anyway. So that's it. That's your Ferringo 5. Carolina at Tampa Bay, Houston at Kansas City, New Orleans at Jacksonville, San Francisco at the Rams, Tennessee at Denver. Those are the 5 games that I will be watching most closely. Is that right? Is that how you say it? Watching the closest? Either way, those are the games I will have my eye on. You watch this video, so I want to give you something for free. Use the promo code TWEET25. Go to www.docsports.com, log in, go to purchase a week's worth of football picks. Could be mine, could be anyone else's. This promo code will work with everyone on the site. Use the promo code TWEET25. You will get 25% off this week's football picks. That promo code is active until Saturday at noon Eastern time. That's it. Check back next week for another episode of the Ferringo 5. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck to everyone. Carpe diem. Good luck.